They hit me with a $30,000 fine for installing a gate on my own property. My own land. Paid in cash. No mortgage. The HOA president, Margaret Finch, stood in my driveway with a smile that made my blood run cold. Remove it in 72 hours, or we foreclose on your property. Foreclose? Over a gate? I'm a 30-year construction veteran. I built that gate with my bare hands using techniques my grandfather taught me. 8 feet of wrought iron with my family name welded across the top. It represents everything I sacrificed for. But Margaret had other plans. When I started investigating her, I discovered something horrifying. 7 homeowners destroyed in 4 years. 3 bankrupted. 2 lost their homes. 1 took his own life. Margaret wasn't enforcing rules. She was running a criminal operation. And I was her next target. This story ends with FBI raids, a federal trial, and revenge so sweet it'll give you chills. Before we start, comment below where you're watching from. I want to know if your state has HOA horror stories like this one. I'm standing at the edge of my new property, and I can barely breathe. 5 acres of pure mountain paradise. Pine trees so thick the air tastes like Christmas morning. A crystal lake 50 yards from my front door, reflecting the Rockies like a mirror. This is it. My retirement dream after 30 years breaking my back in construction. I paid cash. Every penny I saved. No mortgage. No boss. No one telling me what I can or can't do. Just me, my workshop, and freedom. The gate I'm installing isn't fancy. Wrought iron. 8 feet tall. My family name, Morrison, welded across the top in letters I forged myself. My grandfather taught me metalwork when I was 12. Taught me that every weld tells a story. That metal remembers the hands that shaped it. This gate is my pride. My boundary. My right. I'm torching the final hinge when I hear tires crunching on gravel behind me. I turn. Silver Mercedes. Pristine. Expensive. It stops 10 feet away, engine purring like a threat. The door opens. Out steps a woman. Mid-50s. Blonde hair pulled back, so tight it looks painful. Designer sunglasses that cost more than my welding rig. Pencil skirt. Heels that have no business on a dirt road. And a clipboard. She's carrying it like a weapon. Can I help you? I ask, pulling off my gloves. She doesn't smile. That gate. She points with a manicured finger. Violates Community Code 7.3b. Unapproved structural modification. I laugh. Can't help it. Ma'am, I think you're confused. I'm not eyeing your HOA. Her expression doesn't change. Check your deed, Mr. Morrison. Previous owner enrolled this property in the Pine Valley HOA in 2019. You inherited the covenant when you purchased. My hands go cold. That's impossible. Section 12, subsection 4. She's not even looking at me now. She's photographing my gate with her phone. Click, click, click. You have 30 days to remove this structure. After that, we fine you $1,000 per day until compliance. 1,000? Are you insane? Now she looks at me and smiles. It's the kind of smile that makes your stomach drop. The kind that says she's done this before. The kind that says she enjoys it. 30-day notice. She drops a manila envelope at my feet like I'm a dog. I'm Margaret Finch, HOA president. I suggest you read the covenant carefully, Mr. Morrison. We take architectural violations very seriously. She walks back to her Mercedes. Dust cloud choking me as she drives away. I grab the deed from my truck with shaking hands. Flip through pages. Property description. Water rights. Easements. Page 47. There. Buried in legal jargon so dense I need a magnifying glass. Property hereby enrolled in Pine Valley Homeowners Association, subject to all covenants, codes, and architectural review board approvals. She's right. My dream property, the land I saved 30 years to buy, is their prisoner. And that gate, the one I built with my grandfather's techniques, the one with my family name across the top, it just made me their target. I look at Margaret's envelope in the dirt, at my gate standing proud against the mountains, at the lake reflecting sky so blue it hurts, and I realize something that makes my chest tight. I just started a war I can't afford to lose. I call my real estate attorney before the sun comes up. Mark, I need you to fight this. Silence on the line. Then, Jake, what happened? I tell him everything. The gate. Margaret Finch. The covenant I never saw. The $1,000 daily fines. More silence. Mark. Jake, I'm sorry. HOA covenants are ironclad in Colorado. You signed at closing. Legally, you agreed to every word in that deed. My throat closes. I didn't read page 47. Neither does anyone. That's the problem. He sighs. Remove the gate. It's not worth the fight. It's my land. Not according to the HOA. Look, I've seen this before. These organizations have unlimited legal budgets. They'll bleed you dry in court. Just comply. I hang up without saying goodbye. No, I'm not removing MY gate from MY property. Days pass. I ignore their letter. Day 15, another letter arrives. Certified mail. Violation continues. $15,000 currently accrued. Remove immediately or face legal action. I throw it in the trash. Day 22. I'm in my workshop when I hear vehicles. Multiple vehicles. I walk outside. Margaret's Mercedes. A white pickup truck. A county inspector's sedan. Margaret steps out with two people this time. A man in a suit. Her lawyer, I'm guessing. And the county inspector with a camera. They're photographing everything. My gate. My workshop. The position of my truck. The inspector's measuring distances, taking notes. You're making this much harder than it needs to be, Margaret says. She's not even looking at me. She's directing the inspector like a film director. Just comply, Mr. Morrison. Or what? Now she looks. Or we put a lien on your property. Foreclose if necessary. We've done it before. My chest tightens. Foreclosure? Over a gate? The lawyer steps forward. Mr. Morrison, litigation is expensive. For both parties. Be reasonable. Get off my property. Margaret's smile returns. Technically, it's not just your property anymore. The HOA has covenant authority. We'll be back. They leave. Dust settling. My hands won't stop shaking. That night I can't sleep. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, doing math in my head. $30,000. That's what they're threatening. My savings are good, but not infinite. I'm retired. Fixed income. Social Security doesn't start for 2 more years. I grab my laptop. Search, Margaret Finch Pine Valley HOA. Photos everywhere. Charity galas. Ribbon-cutting ceremonies. Newspaper quotes. Maintaining property values is our sacred duty. A profile in the local magazine. Meet the woman keeping Pine Valley beautiful. Translation, control. Day 30, the deadline. I'm standing at my gate at sunrise. Bolt cutters in my hand. I could end this right now. Cut it down. Comply. Save my money. I raise the cutters to the first post. My grandfather's weld. Perfect penetration. Flawless bead. He taught me that metalwork is about legacy. About creating something that lasts. I lower the cutters. Then the mail truck arrives. Certified letter. My hands shake opening it. Total fines accrued, $30,000. Legal action imminent. Remove gate within 72 hours, or we proceed with lien filing and foreclosure proceedings. $30,000. For a gate. I look at that letter. At my gate. At the mountains beyond. And I make my decision. I'm not backing down. Not complying. Not running. I'm going to war. I'm not removing the gate. Instead, I'm burning everything down. First stop, County Records Office. 7 a.m. I'm first in line. If Margaret's done this before, and she said she has, there's a paper trail. There's always a paper trail. The clerk is a woman named Susan. Early 60s. Reading glasses on a chain. She recognizes Margaret's name instantly. Oh, her. Susan's face darkens. What did she do to you? $30,000 in fines. Over a gate. Susan shakes her head. Let me pull some files. She disappears into the back. Returns 10 minutes later with a stack of folders that makes my stomach drop. Finch versus 7 property owners in the last 4 years. 7. My blood runs cold. What happened to them? Susan leans across the counter. Whispers. 3 paid massive fines. Tens of thousands each. 2 sold their homes at a loss just to escape. 1 declared bankruptcy. She pauses. Her eyes go dark. 1 took his own life. I feel sick. Over HOA violations. Margaret doesn't just enforce rules. Susan's voice is barely audible. She hunts people. Finds obscure violations in the covenant. Piles on fines until they break. Then the HOA forecloses. And somehow, those properties end up sold at auction for pennies on the dollar. Who buys them? Susan slides a folder across the counter. This is off the record, but you need to see this. Inside, property purchase records spanning 4 years. 12 homes. All foreclosed through HOA liens. All bought by something called Mountain Vista Properties, LLC. I flip through pages. Shell company registration. Owner listed as Finch Holdings Group. Corporate filings. Principal, Richard Finch, Margaret's husband. They're not enforcing rules. They're stealing property, using HOA authority as a legal weapon to bankrupt homeowners. Force foreclosure. Buy the properties through shell companies at auction, then resell them for massive profit. It's a scam. A perfectly legal scam. My hands are shaking so bad I can barely hold the papers. Susan, can I get copies of all this? She looks around. I never saw you here. I spend the next 3 days digging. Property tax records. Sale prices. Market values. The pattern is sickening. Average home value, $380,000. Foreclosure auction price, $120,000. Resale price 6 months later, $425,000. Margaret and her husband have made over $2 million doing this. But then I find something else. Something beautiful. Something that makes me smile for the first time in weeks. Margaret's shell company, Mountain Vista Properties LLC, is registered in Delaware. But it's conducting business in Colorado, which means it needs a Colorado business license. I checked the Secretary of State database. No license. No registration. Nothing. She's operating an illegal business. Conducting unlicensed real estate transactions. That's not just civil. That's criminal. I lean back in my chair. My workshop is still ashes. My truck still smells like sugar and gasoline. My gate is still covered in red spray paint. But I have something now. Something Margaret doesn't know I have. Ammunition. I grab my phone. Dial a number I haven't called in years. Channel 9 News. How can I help you? I need to speak with an investigative reporter. I have a story about HOA corruption, property theft, and possible fraud. And I have documentation for everything. Silence. Then, hold please. I wait, staring at my gate through the window, at my family name barely visible under the spray paint. Margaret wanted war. She's about to get one she can't win. Day 35. Sheriff's deputy at my door. He's young, uncomfortable, won't make eye contact. Mr. Morrison, I'm serving you with a notice of lien. $35,000 now owed to Pine Valley Homeowners Association. He hands me papers, turns to leave. Wait, what does this mean? He stops. Means they have a legal claim against your property, sir. You can't sell, can't refinance. The lien stays until you pay or they foreclose. He looks genuinely sorry. I get a lawyer. The door closes. I'm standing there holding papers that say my property, paid in cash, isn't fully mine anymore. They've trapped me. But I'm not panicking, because I know something Margaret doesn't. That night, I drive to the HOA meeting. Community center. Fluorescent lights buzzing. 20 homeowners scattered in plastic chairs. Margaret at the head table like a queen on a throne. She sees me enter. Her expression doesn't change. Next agenda item, she says, voice crisp. Morrison property violation. Mr. Morrison has refused repeated notices to comply with architectural guidelines. His gate remains in violation. We filed a legal lien of $35,000. Everyone's staring at me. A man in the back, Tom, I recognize him from the neighborhood, speaks up. Margaret, isn't $35,000 a bit excessive? For a gate. Her eyes flash. Rules are rules, Tom. Unless you'd like your property inspected for violations. Tom goes silent. Everyone does. That's when I understand. She rules through fear. I stand. I'd like to address the board. Margaret's jaw tightens. You're not a member in good standing. Actually, I am. I've paid all my dues. I've submitted my request to speak in writing per your bylaws. I have the floor. The board members look at each other. Margaret's trapped by her own rules. 5 minutes, she says. I walk to the front. Pull out my USB drive. Plug it into the projector. I want to show everyone something interesting. Margaret's face goes white. Property records fill the screen. 12 addresses. Foreclosure dates. Purchase prices. Resale prices. 12 homes. I say, voice steady. All foreclosed by this HOA in the last 4 years. All purchased by Mountain Vista Properties, LLC. A shell company registered to Finch Holdings Group. Margaret's husband's company. The room is dead silent. Tom stands. Margaret, what is he talking about? I click to the next slide. Here's the pattern. HOA finds violation. Piles on fines. Homeowner can't pay. HOA forecloses. Property goes to auction. Margaret's company buys it at 40% of market value, then resells it 6 months later for full price. $2 million in profit. An elderly woman gasps. You've been stealing homes. Margaret's standing now. This is slander. I'll sue you for defamation. It's not slander if it's true. I click again. County records. Shell company filings. Her husband's signature as purchasing agent. Here's the documentation. Every transaction. Every foreclosure. Every illegal purchase. The room explodes. Homeowners shouting. Board members scrambling. Tom's yelling questions. The elderly woman is crying. Margaret grabs her purse. Her lawyer grabs her arm. They rush for the door. This isn't over, Morrison, she screams. I will destroy you. They're gone. The room is chaos. Tom walks up to me. Shakes my hand. Thank you. We had no idea. I nod. But something in my gut says this isn't victory. It's the beginning of something worse. 2 days later, I find out I'm right. New letter. Not from the HOA. From Margaret's personal attorney. Defamation lawsuit. $500,000 damages. Court date set. Then my workshop burns. 2 a.m. I wake to orange light bleeding through my curtains. Fire. My workshop is an inferno. Flames 30 feet high. Eating through the roof I built with my own hands. I grab my phone, dial 911, run outside in bare feet. The heat hits me like a wall. I can hear things exploding inside. Paint cans. Propane tanks. 30 years of tools turning to ash. Fire trucks arrive. 15 minutes. Too late. They spray water, but it's already gone. My grandfather's anvil, the one he carried from Pennsylvania, is cracked in half from the heat. The fire marshal takes statements. Walks the perimeter with a flashlight as the sun comes up. Electrical, he finally says. Looks like a short in your wiring started it. That's impossible. I rewired everything 6 months ago. He shrugs. These things happen, Mr. Morrison. I'm sorry, but I know this wasn't an accident. Margaret's face at that meeting, pure rage. This is her answer. I call the sheriff. They take a report. Do nothing. No evidence of arson. No witnesses. Could have been accidental. The next morning, I walk out to my truck. Turn the key. Engine sputters. Dies. Won't restart. I pop the hood. Sugar in the gas tank. Thick white crystals coating everything. Then I see my gate. My gate. Covered in red spray paint. 3-foot letters. Snitch. My hands are shaking. Not from fear. From rage. Margaret isn't fighting legal anymore. She's fighting dirty. Destroying my property. Vandalizing. Threatening. And the authorities won't help. I take photos. Document everything. Call my insurance company. They're sympathetic but clear. We'll investigate. But if the fire marshal ruled it accidental, that's our starting point. That afternoon, another letter arrives. Margaret's lawsuit. $500,000 for defamation. Restraining order filed. I can't come within 500 feet of her property or any HOA meetings. I call my attorney. Mark, she burned my workshop. Destroyed my truck. This is retaliation. Can you prove it? I know it was her. That's not proof, Jake. Look, I'll file a response to the lawsuit. But you need to understand, she has money, lawyers, and time. This could take years. Cost you everything. I hang up. Sit in the ashes of my workshop. The smell of burned wood and melted metal everywhere. I've lost my workshop. My tools. My truck needs a new engine. $8,000. Margaret's lawsuit will cost $20,000 minimum to defend. The HOA lien is $35,000 and growing. My retirement savings are bleeding out. My daughter calls. Dad, please. Just remove the gate. This isn't worth your life. Maybe she's right. Maybe I should cut my losses. Run. I walk outside. Bolt cutters in my hand again. Stand in front of my gate. My family name barely visible under red paint. I raise the cutters. My hands are shaking. Then I think about the man who took his own life. The family's bankrupted. The widow who lost her husband's childhood home. If I back down, Margaret wins. And she'll do this to someone else. And someone else. Forever. I lower the cutters. Walk back inside. Grab my phone. Channel 9 News. How can I help you? My name is Jake Morrison. 2 days ago, I exposed an HOA president for running a property theft ring. Now my workshop's burned, my truck's destroyed, and she's suing me for $500,000. I take a breath. And I have proof of everything. Silence. Then, we're sending a crew. Today, I'm not sleeping. Haven't in 4 days. Every sound outside makes me jump. Every car that slows down near my property sends my heart racing. Margaret's lawsuit is bleeding me dry. $10,000 to my attorney just to file a response. He's talking discovery costs, depositions, trial prep. We're looking at $50,000 minimum if this goes to court. The HOA lien is now $42,000 with legal fees and interest compounding daily. They're not just threatening foreclosure anymore. They've scheduled a hearing. 30 days. I'm burning through my retirement savings watching everything I worked for vanish. My daughter keeps calling. Dad, you're killing yourself. Just take down the gate. Walk away. Please. I don't answer anymore. What can I say? That I'm too stubborn? Too angry? That this stopped being about a gate weeks ago? It's midnight. I'm sitting in my truck, still smells like sugar, staring at my gate. Someone pressure washed the spray paint off, but you can still see the shadow of those red letters. Snitch. I grabbed the bolt cutters from the passenger seat. Walked to the gate. Metal cold under my hands. My grandfather's welds. Perfect. Timeless. I positioned the cutters on the first post. One cut, and this is over. Compliance. Surrender. Safety. My hands are shaking. Tears in my eyes I'm too proud to acknowledge. I squeeze the handles. Feel the blade bite into metal. And I can't. I physically cannot do it. Because if I cut this gate down, Margaret wins. The next person she targets, they'll remember. That Morrison guy fought and lost. Why bother trying? And the cycle continues. Forever. I drop the cutters. They hit gravel with a sound like a gunshot. Then I pull out my phone. Do something I should have done weeks ago. Channel 9 News. How can I help you? This is Jake Morrison. I called 2 days ago about HOA corruption. I have new information. My property's being destroyed. I'm being sued. And I have documentation of everything. Transfer. Hold music. Then a voice. Mr. Morrison, this is Jessica Chun, investigative reporter. Tell me everything. 2 days later, a news van pulls up. Jessica steps out. Late 20s, sharp eyes. The kind of hungry reporter who smells blood in the water. I show her everything. Property records. Foreclosure documents. Photos of my burn workshop. My truck. The spray-painted gate. Susan's county records. The shell company filings. This is huge, Jessica whispers, flipping through files. Why hasn't anyone reported this before? Because Margaret crushes them before they can fight back. Fear. Legal threats. Property destruction. She makes examples out of people. Jessica's eyes are bright. We're running this tomorrow night. Prime time. 6 p.m. Will that help me? It'll put pressure on the HOA. The county. Maybe even trigger an investigation. But Mr. Morrison? She looks at me seriously. Margaret's going to come after you even harder. Are you prepared for that? I look at my gate. My property. The mountains beyond. I've already lost almost everything. What else can she take? That evening, my phone rings. Unknown number. I answer. Hello. Margaret's voice. Shaking with rage. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. I will destroy you. Your property. Your family. Your name. Everything you've ever cared about. You have no idea what I'm capable of. The line goes dead. I'm standing in my driveway. Sun setting over the Rockies. Gate casting long shadows. My hands aren't shaking anymore. Because tomorrow, the whole state will know Margaret Finch's name. And exactly what she's done. Tomorrow, everything changes. 6 p.m. Channel 9 News. I'm sitting in a booth at the local diner with my daughter. Every TV in the place is tuned to the same channel. The anchor's voice cuts through the noise. Tonight, HOA horror stories. How one Colorado woman allegedly used homeowner rules to steal millions in property. The diner goes quiet. Jessica's face fills the screen. We've obtained documents showing a disturbing pattern of foreclosures in Pine Valley, and they all lead back to one person. Margaret's photo appears. Professional headshot. That same cold smile. The story is devastating. Interviews with former homeowners. A man in his 60s, crying. We paid every fine. $40,000. It bankrupted us. We lost the house anyway. The widow whose husband built their home with his own hands. She took the only thing I had left of him. The only thing. Susan from county records, face blurred, voice disguised. The pattern is clear. Target vulnerable homeowners. Find obscure violations. Pile on fines until they can't pay. Foreclose. Then purchase the property through shell companies for pennies on the dollar. Graphics showing the money trail. 12 properties. $2 million in profit. Then me, standing by my gate. I'm not fighting for myself anymore. I'm fighting so this never happens to another family. So no one else loses everything to someone who weaponizes authority for profit. The diner erupts. Applause. People shouting at the TV. The waitress squeezes my shoulder. You're a hero. My phone explodes. Text messages. Emails. Facebook notifications. Thank you. Don't give up. This happened to my cousin. Sue her. But the best message comes from Tom. Emergency board meeting tomorrow. 9 a.m. Margaret's getting a vote of no confidence. You need to be there. My daughter's crying. Dad, you did it. Not yet, I say. But we're close. That night I sleep for the first time in weeks. Deep. Dreamless. Morning comes. I arrive at the community center at 8:45 a.m. The parking lot is packed. 50 cars. Maybe more. Inside, every chair is filled. Homeowners standing along the walls. The energy is electric. Angry. Margaret's not here. Her seat at the head table is empty. Her lawyer stands. Reads from a prepared statement. Voice shaking. Ms. Margaret Finch resigns as president of Pine Valley HOA, effective immediately. She denies all allegations and reserves the right to pursue legal action against defamatory claims. The room explodes. Shouting. Cheering. Someone starts clapping and everyone joins. Tom takes the microphone. Bangs a gavel until the noise dies down. First order of new business. Jake Morrison's gate. I move that we formally approve the structure as architecturally consistent with community standards. Second, someone yells. All in favor. Every single hand goes up. Every single one. The motion passes. The lien against Mr. Morrison's property is hereby dismissed and removed. I can't breathe. My daughter's hugging me. Strangers are shaking my hand. The widow from the news story finds me, tears streaming. Thank you for fighting when we couldn't. Tom pulls me aside. Jake, the board wants you to know, we're investigating all of Margaret's past foreclosures. If there's grounds for restitution, we'll pursue it. I nod. Can't speak. Too much emotion. Then my phone rings. Jessica. Jake, you need to see this. Turn on the news. Now. Someone's already switching the TV to Channel 9. Breaking news banner. FBI raids local real estate office. Aerial footage of Margaret's husband's company. Federal agents carrying boxes. Police tape everywhere. The anchor, Richard Finch, local developer, was arrested this morning on charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and real estate fraud. The investigation stems from allegations of HOA-related property theft. I'm staring at the screen. Frozen. Margaret's empire isn't just crumbling. It's being demolished by the FBI. The news cycle is brutal for Margaret. Her face on every channel. Every website. HOA tyrant's criminal empire exposed. Local woman accused of multi-million-dollar fraud. Richard Finch's office is gutted. FBI seizes computers, files, financial records. 12 properties frozen. Bank accounts locked. Their entire operation exposed. Agent Torres calls me 3 days later. Mr. Morrison, I'm with the FBI's White-Collar Crimes Division. Your documentation was critical to building this case. Without you, we'd never have connected the shell companies to the foreclosures. What happens now? Federal grand jury. Multiple charges. Wire fraud. Money laundering. If convicted, they're looking at significant prison time. I should feel satisfaction. Victory. But all I feel is empty. My workshop is still ashes. My truck still needs repairs. The emotional damage from 2 months of hell, that doesn't just disappear. But the gate stands. My name visible. My property mine again. 5 days after the arrest, I get a visitor I'm not expecting. Margaret. She pulls up in a Honda Civic. Not the Mercedes. She's wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. No makeup. She's aged 10 years in a week. Every instinct screams, slam the door. Call the police. Get her off my property. But something stops me. Maybe curiosity. Maybe pity. I let her in. We sit at my kitchen table. The same table where I've planned my defense. Read threatening letters. Cried in frustration. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Why'd you do it? I finally ask. She stares at her hands. They're shaking. My father lost everything in 2008. Bank foreclosed on the family home. He'd lived there 40 years. Built it himself. Her voice cracks. He had a heart attack signing the papers. Died in the bank parking lot. I say nothing. I swore I'd never be powerless again. Never be at someone else's mercy. Never lose control. She looks up. Eyes red. So I became the thing I hated most. You became a monster. I became safe. She wipes her eyes. Or I thought I did. But those people I hurt, I see their faces every night. The man who killed himself. The widow. That father with 3 kids. She's crying now. I can't undo it. The money's gone. The FBI has everything. I've lost everything too. Part of me wants to feel sympathy, but I think of my burned workshop, the spray-painted gate, the threat against my family. Good, I say. She nods. Stands slowly. Your gate is beautiful. Your grandfather would be proud. She walks to the door. Stops. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. She leaves. I watch her Honda disappear down the road. Do I feel satisfaction? Closure? No. Just exhaustion. Because here's the truth. Hurt people hurt people. Margaret was a victim who became a victimizer. Her father's trauma became her weapon, and she wielded it against innocent families until someone finally stopped her. It doesn't excuse what she did, but it explains it. That night, Agent Torres calls again. Jake, I wanted you to know, we've recovered approximately $2.3 million in assets. Property sales, shell company accounts, hidden investments. It's going into a victim compensation fund. The families will get restitution. We're working on it. It won't be full value, but it's something. I hang up. Walk outside. The gate stands in moonlight, Morrison welded across the top. My grandfather used to say, metal remembers the hands that shaped it. This gate remembers my fight, my refusal to back down, my determination to protect not just my property, but everyone who came after. And that, I realize, is worth everything I lost. Agent Torres calls me 2 weeks later with a proposal I didn't see coming. Jake, the FBI's Victim Compensation Fund is operational. We've recovered $2.3 million. But here's the problem. We need someone to coordinate distribution. Someone who knows the victims. Someone they trust. You want me to do it? You're the only one who fought back. The only one who didn't run. These people know your name. They trust you. I spend the next month tracking down every victim. It's harder than I expected. Some moved out of state. Some won't return calls, too traumatized to revisit the nightmare. Some have died. But slowly, I bring them together. A meeting at the community center. 15 people. Families Margaret destroyed. The room is silent when I enter. Haunted faces. Broken people. The widow is here. The bankrupt father with 3 kids. Tom and several board members. A young couple who lost their starter home. An elderly man in a wheelchair who lost his retirement property. I stand at the front. No microphone. Just my voice. I know what Margaret Finch took from you. Money. Homes. Peace. Security. I can't give you back time. Can't undo the trauma. But the FBI recovered assets. And you're getting restitution. Agent Torres steps forward. It's not full value. We're estimating 40 to 60% recovery based on available funds. But it's substantial. The widow speaks, voice barely a whisper. My husband's house, the one his father built. You'll receive a settlement, Torres confirms. Enough to buy another home if you choose. Or invest. Or rebuild your life however you see fit. Silence. Then tears. The elderly man in the wheelchair covers his face. The young couple holds each other. Tom speaks up. Jake, you didn't have to do this. You won. Your gate's approved. The lien's dismissed. You could have walked away. No, I say. I couldn't. Because this was never just about MY Gate. It was about all of us. About stopping someone who weaponized authority. About making sure this never happens again. One by one, people approach. Handshakes. Hugs. Thank yous that feel too small for what they're expressing. The widow finds me last. She's crying. Thank you for fighting when we couldn't. When I wanted to give up. You survived, I tell her. That took more strength than anything I did. Over the next 3 months, settlements are distributed. The widow buys a small home near her daughter. The bankrupt father pays off debts and starts rebuilding credit. The young couple makes a down payment on a new property outside any HOA jurisdiction. The elderly man sends me a letter. You gave me back my dignity. That's worth more than money. But the work isn't finished. Because Margaret's case exposed something bigger. A system that allows HOAs to wield unchecked power. To fine without limit. To foreclose without oversight. To destroy lives legally. Tom and I start meeting with state legislators. We draft proposals. The Homeowner Protection Act. Limits on HOA fines. Mandatory transparency. Appeals processes. Protection against predatory foreclosure. It's slow. Bureaucratic. Frustrating. But necessary. Because if we don't change the system, another Margaret will rise. Another family will be targeted. Another person will lose everything. 6 months after the FBI raid, The legislation passes committee. It's not law yet, but it's moving forward. I'm standing at my gate when Tom calls. Jake, we did it. The bill's going to the state Senate. They're calling it Morrison's Law. I look at my family name welded across iron. My grandfather's techniques. My pride. This gate almost cost me everything, but it gave me something more valuable. Purpose. A reason to fight. A legacy beyond metal. 8 months after the FBI raid. Federal courthouse downtown. I'm in the gallery with 20 other people. All victims. All witnesses to Margaret's destruction. United States versus Margaret Finch. The courtroom is packed. Media in the back. Sketch artists. Prosecutors in sharp suits. Margaret at the defense table in a gray dress, looking small and defeated. Her attorney stands. Your Honor, my client is a first-time offender. A respected community leader. The allegations are overblown. The prosecutor cuts in. Your Honor, Ms. Finch orchestrated a multi-year scheme to defraud homeowners of millions of dollars. We have documentation, testimony, and financial records proving systematic fraud. The trial lasts 2 weeks. Every day feels like reliving trauma. Witnesses parade through. Tom testifies about intimidation tactics. Susan from County Records explains the paper trail. Financial experts detail the money laundering through shell companies. Then the victims. The widow describes losing her husband's legacy. The bankrupt father talks about explaining to his children why they had to leave their home. A woman I've never met before speaks about her brother. The man who took his own life after Margaret's HOA destroyed him financially. The courtroom is silent. Some jurors are crying. Then it's my turn. I take the stand. Swear to tell the truth. Margaret's attorney approaches. Expensive suit. Confident smirk. Mr. Morrison, isn't it true you violated HOA covenants you agreed to? Yes. I installed a gate without architectural approval. So you're admitting you broke the rules? I broke a rule. She broke the law. There's a difference. He narrows his eyes. You publicly accused my client of crimes before any investigation. I presented evidence. Documentation. Facts. The FBI confirmed everything I said. You destroyed my client's reputation. She destroyed lives. The judge bangs the gavel. That's enough. Step down, Mr. Morrison. The prosecution presents emails between Margaret and her husband. Target the Morrison property. He's sitting on $400,000 equity. Find violations on the Wilson home. Their son just died. They're vulnerable. Margaret's own words. Her own strategy. Written evidence of intentional targeting. The defense tries to claim she didn't understand the financial details. That her husband controlled everything. But the emails prove otherwise. She was the architect. He was the executioner. Closing arguments. The prosecutor. Margaret Finch used a position of trust to prey on vulnerable homeowners. She turned community governance into a criminal enterprise. The evidence is overwhelming. The jury deliberates for 6 hours. We're all in the hallway, waiting. The widow holds my hand. Tom paces. Nobody speaks. Then the bailiff. Jury's back. We file into the courtroom. Stand as the judge enters. My heart is hammering. Has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. On count 1, wire fraud. How do you find? Guilty. Margaret's head drops. Count 2, money laundering. How do you find? Guilty. Count 3, conspiracy to commit fraud. How do you find? Guilty. Margaret collapses into her chair. Her attorney catches her. She's sobbing. Broken. The judge sets sentencing for 30 days. Outside the courthouse, media swarms. Jessica finds me. Jake, how do you feel? I look at the victims standing together. Tom with his arm around the elderly man. The widow smiling for the first time I've ever seen. The bankrupt father holding his daughter's hand. Relieved. Grateful. Tired. I pause. But mostly, hopeful. Because this proves the system can work. When people refuse to be silent. When they fight back. That night, I drive home. My gate stands against the sunset. Morrison shining in golden light. The fight isn't over. Sentencing is coming. But today justice spoke. And it spoke loud. 30 days later. Same courthouse. Same gallery. Same victims. But today feels different. Heavier. Final. Sentencing day. Margaret is led in wearing orange jail scrubs. No more designer clothes. No more authority. Just a convicted criminal awaiting judgment. The courtroom rises as the judge enters. Judge Patricia Chun. Stern. Fair. She's read every document. Heard every testimony. Ms. Finch, You've been convicted on multiple federal charges. Before I pass sentence, the court will hear victim impact statements. The widow stands first. Her voice is stronger than I've ever heard it. Your Honor, Margaret Finch took the only thing I had left of my husband. The home he built with his hands. Where we raised our children. Where he died. She took it for profit. I spent 2 years homeless, staying with relatives, broken. I want the court to know, she didn't just steal property. She stole dignity. She sits. The bankrupt father stands. My children asked why we had to leave our home. Why their friends couldn't visit anymore. Why Daddy cried at night. I had no answer. Because there is no answer when someone weaponizes the law against you. Tom speaks. Margaret Finch turned neighbors against each other. Created a culture of fear. Made people afraid to plant flowers or paint their doors without permission. She perverted community governance into tyranny. One by one, victims speak. 15 statements. 15 stories of destruction. The judge listens to every word. Takes notes. Her expression never changes. Then it's my turn. I stand. My legs are shaking. Your Honor, I don't hate Margaret Finch. I pity her. She was so afraid of being powerless that she became the thing she feared most, someone who strips power from others. But pity doesn't excuse crimes. These people deserve justice. They deserve to know this can never happen again. And the only way to ensure that is through accountability. I sit. Margaret's attorney stands for his final plea. Your Honor, Ms. Finch is a first-time offender. She's lost everything. Her reputation, her assets, her marriage, her husband's cooperating with authorities and filing for divorce. She's suffered tremendously. We ask for leniency. The judge's expression hardens. Counsel, your client didn't just break the law. She corrupted a system meant to protect communities. She targeted vulnerable people systematically. Intentionally. For years. She drove a man to take his own life. Do you understand the gravity of that? Yes, Your Honor, but I've heard enough. The judge looks at Margaret. Miss Finch, stand. Margaret rises. Barely. She looks like she might collapse. The court sentences you to 8 years in federal prison. $2.5 million in restitution to be paid from any remaining assets or future earnings. And a lifetime ban from serving in any homeowner association governance role. 8 years. The courtroom is silent. Then someone in the back starts clapping. Others join. Not celebration. Just relief. Margaret is sobbing. They lead her away in handcuffs. She doesn't look back. Outside, victims gather on the courthouse steps. There's no celebration. No cheering. Just quiet relief. Exhausted peace. Tom shakes my hand. It's over. No. I say, looking at the group of survivors. Now the real work begins. We make sure this never happens again. We reform HOA laws. We protect homeowners. We turn this tragedy into change. The widow approaches. Smiles. How do we start? I think about my gate. My fight. My purpose. We start by refusing to be silent. By telling our stories. By demanding better. She nods. Then let's get to work. 1 year later. I'm standing at my gate. The metal gleams in morning sun. Morrison welded across the top. Every weld perfect. Every line straight. My grandfather's legacy. My pride. But there's something new beside it. A wooden sign, professionally made. Morrison Property Rights Advocacy. 3 days a week. I consult with homeowners facing HOA abuse. No charge. Ever. Because I remember what it felt like to be targeted. Alone. Drowning in fines with nowhere to turn. I've helped 12 families so far. Negotiated settlements. Reviewed covenants. Connected people with attorneys. Exposed 3 more corrupt HOA boards. The workshop is rebuilt. Better than before. My grandfather's anvil, cracked from fire, sits in the corner. A reminder. Battle scars. Survival. Morrison's law passed 6 months ago. The Homeowner Protection Act. Limits on HOA fines. No more than $500 per violation. Mandatory appeals process. Transparency requirements. Protection against predatory foreclosure. Tom led the charge at the State House. But he told reporters, Jake Morrison started this. He refused to back down when it would have been easier to quit. That courage changed everything. Today, my daughter's here. With my grandchildren. They're running around the property, laughing, chasing each other near the lake, living the freedom I fought for. My grandson stops at the gate, touches the metal. Grandpa, tell us about the gate. I kneel down. Look at his curious eyes. This gate represents something important. Freedom. Standing up when things are wrong. Refusing to let bullies win. I run my hand across the weld. Your great-great-grandfather taught me metalwork isn't just about bending steel. It's about creating something that lasts. Something that means something. Did you really fight bad people? I fought injustice. And I won. Not because I was strong, but because I refused to be silent. He nods. Doesn't fully understand yet. But someday he will. My daughter hugs me. Dad, I'm so proud of you. You could have walked away. But you fought. And you changed lives. That evening, I sit on my porch. Rockies glowing purple in sunset. Lake reflecting perfect sky. This property, this dream, almost cost me everything. But it gave me more than I lost. Purpose. Community. A reason to wake up every morning and fight for something bigger than myself. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. I answer cautiously. Mr. Morrison? My name is David. I'm in Arizona. My HOA is threatening foreclosure over a shed I built. I found your story online. Can you help? I smile. Absolutely. Tell me everything. Because that's the thing about fighting back. Once you do it once, you can't stop. You see injustice everywhere. And you refuse to let it win. Justice isn't a moment. It's not a verdict or a sentence or a celebration. Justice is a mission, a commitment, a daily choice to stand up for what's right even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I look at my gate one more time. The family name. The perfect welds. The symbol of everything I fought for. Margaret's in prison. The victims have restitution. The laws are changing. But the work continues. Because somewhere right now, another homeowner is being targeted. Another family is facing impossible fines. Another person is deciding whether to fight or flee. And if my story, my gate, my struggle, my victory, gives even one person the courage to stand their ground, then it was all worth it. Every dollar, every sleepless night, every moment of fear and doubt and rage. All worth it. My mission has just begun. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt powerless against authority or wondered if one person can make a difference, leave a comment below. Tell me where you're watching from. Share your own HOA story. Let's build a community of people who refuse to be silent. Because that's how change happens. One voice, one story, one fight at a time. Your comment matters. Your story matters. Add it below.